This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Sea Fairies by L. Frank Baum. Chapter 12. The Enchanted Island. All at once it grew dark around them. Neither Cap'n Bill nor Trot liked this gloom, for it made them nervous not to be able to see their enemies. "We must be near a sea cavern, if not within one," whispered Princess Clia, and even as she spoke, the network of scarlet arms parted before them, leaving an avenue for them to swim out of the cage. There was brighter water ahead, too, so the queen said without hesitation, "Come along, dear friends, but let us clasp hands and keep close together." They obeyed her commands and swam swiftly out of their prison and into the clear water before them, glad to put a distance between themselves and the loathsome sea devils. The monsters made no attempt to follow them, but they burst into a chorus of harsh laughter which warned our friends that they had not yet accomplished their escape. The four now found themselves in a broad, rocky passage which was dimly lighted from some unknown source. The walls overhead, below them, and at the sides all glistened as if made of silver, and in places were set small statues of birds, beasts, and fishes, occupying niches in the walls and seemingly made from the same glistening material. The queen swam more slowly now that the sea devils had been left behind, and she looked exceedingly grave and thoughtful. "Have you ever been here before?" asked Trot. "No, dear," said the queen with a sigh. "And do you know where we are?" continued the girl. "I can guess," replied Aquareine. "There is only one place in all the sea where such a passage as that we are in could exist without my knowledge, and that is in the hidden dominions of Zog. If we are indeed in the power of that fearful magician, we must summon all our courage to resist him, or we are lost." "Is Zog more powerful than the mermaids?" asked Trot anxiously. "I do not know, for we have never before met to measure our strength," answered Aquareine. "But if King Anko could defeat the magician, as he surely did, then I think I shall be able to do so." "I wish I was sure of it," muttered Cap'n Bill. Absolute silence reigned in the silver passage. No fish were there, not even a sea flower grew to relieve the stern grandeur of this vast corridor. Trot began to be impressed with the fact that she was a good way from her home and mother, and she wondered if she would ever get back again to the white cottage on the cliff. Here she was at the bottom of the great ocean, swimming through a big tunnel that had an enchanted castle at one end and a group of horrible sea devils at the other. In spite of this thought, she was not very much afraid. Although two fairy mermaids were her companions, she relied, strange to say, more upon her tried and true friend Cap'n Bill than upon her newer acquaintances to see her safely out of her present troubles. Cap'n Bill himself did not feel very confident. "I don't care 2 cents what becomes of me," he told Princess Clia in a low voice, "but I am dreadful worried over our Trot. She's too sweet and too young to be made an end of in this here fashion." Clia smiled at the speech. "I'm sure you will find our little girl's end a good way off," she replied. "Trust to our powerful queen and be sure she will find some means for us all to escape uninjured." The light grew brighter as they advanced until finally they perceived a magnificent archway just ahead of them. Aquareine hesitated a moment whether to go on or turn back, but there was no escaping the sea devils behind them, and she decided the best way out of their difficulties was to bravely face the unknown Zog and rely upon her fairy powers to prevent his doing any mischief to herself or her friends. So she led the way, and together they approached the archway and passed through it. They now found themselves in a vast cavern so great in extent that the dome overhead looked like the sky when seen from the earth. In the center of this immense sea cavern rose the towers of a splendid castle, all built of coral inlaid with silver and having windows of clear glass. Surrounding the castle were beds of beautiful sea flowers, many being in full bloom, and these were laid out with great care in artistic designs. Goldfish and silverfish darted here and there among the foliage, and the whole scene was so pretty and peaceful that Trot began to doubt there was any danger lurking in such a lovely place. As they paused to look around them, a brilliantly colored gregfish approached and gazed at them curiously with his big saucer-like eyes. "So Zog has got you at last," he said in a pitying tone. "How foolish you were to swim into that part of the sea where he is powerful." "The sea devils made us," explained Clia. "Well, I'm sorry for you, I'm sure," remarked the Greg, and with a flash of his tail he disappeared among the sea foliage. "Let us go to the castle," said the queen in a determined voice. "We may as well boldly defy our fate as to wait until Zog seeks us out." So they swam to the entrance of the castle. The doors stood wide open, and the interior seemed as well lighted as the cavern itself, although none of them could discover from whence the light came. At each side of the entrance lay a fish such as they had never seen before. It was flat as a doormat and seemed to cling fast to the coral floor. Upon its back were quills like those of a porcupine, all pointed and sharp. From the center of the fish arose a head shaped like a round ball with a circle of piercing bead-like eyes set in it. These strange guardians of the entrance might be able to talk and to tell what their numerous eyes saw, yet they remained silent and watchful. Even Aquareine gazed upon them curiously, and she gave a little shudder as she did so. Inside the entrance was a domed hall with a flight of stairs leading to an upper balcony. Around the hall were several doorways hung with curtains made of woven seaweeds. Chairs and benches stood against the wall, and these astonished the visitors because neither stairs nor chairs seemed useful in a kingdom where every living thing was supposed to swim and have a fish's tail. In Queen Aquarine's palaces, benches for reclining were used, and stairs were wholly unnecessary. But in the palace of Zog, the furniture and fittings were much like those of a house upon earth, and except that every space was here filled with water instead of air, Trot and Cap'n Bill might have imagined themselves in a handsome earthly castle. The little group paused half fearfully in the hall, yet so far there was surely nothing to be afraid of. They were wondering what to do next when the curtains of an archway were pushed aside and a boy entered. To Trot's astonishment, he had legs and walked upon them naturally and with perfect ease. He was a delicate, frail-looking little fellow, dressed in a black velvet suit with knee breeches. The bows at his throat and knees were of colored seaweeds, woven into broad ribbons. His hair was yellow and banged across his forehead. His eyes were large and dark, with a pleasant, merry sparkle in them. Around his neck he wore a high ruff, but in spite of this, Trot could see that below his plump cheeks were several scarlet-edged slits that looked like the gills of fishes, for they gently opened and closed as the boy breathed in the water by which he was surrounded. These gills did not greatly mar the lad's delicate beauty, and he spread out his arms and bowed low and gracefully in greeting. "Hello," said Trot. "Why, I'd like to," replied the boy with a laugh. "But being a mere slave, it isn't proper for me to hello. But it's good to see Earth people again, and I'm glad you're here." "We're not glad," observed the girl. "We're afraid." "You'll get over that," declared the boy smilingly. "People lose a lot of time being afraid. Once I was myself afraid, but I found it was no fun, so I gave it up." "Why were we brought here?" inquired Queen Aquareine gently. "I can't say, madam, being a mere slave," replied the boy. "But you have reminded me of my errand. I am sent to inform you that Zog the Forsaken, who hates all the world and is hated by all the world, commands your presence in his den." "Do you hate Zog too?" asked Trot. "Oh no," answered the boy. "People lose a lot of time in hating others, and there's no fun in it at all. Zog may be hateful, but I'm not going to waste time hating him. You may do so if you like." "You are a queer child," remarked the Mermaid Queen, looking at him attentively. "Will you tell us who you are?" "Once I was Prince Saco of Saccharino-La-Land, which is a sweet country but hard to pronounce," he answered. "But in this domain I have but one title and one name, and that is Slave." "How came you to be Zog's slave?" asked Clia. "The funniest adventure you ever heard of," asserted the boy with eager pride. "I sailed in a ship that went to pieces in a storm. All on board were drowned but me.